All right, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well today. Whatever time of the day you're listening to this, I hope you're doing good. Today is Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021, and we have a fair amount of news to cover. Again, like I said yesterday, there's nothing that would make you go like holy crap the same way that when Trump was in office, whether it was a good thing or a bad thing. The news won't be the same after he left. And I'm not trying to harp on that. I'm just saying that the last 4 years I'm so used to waking up and there's a new thing, whether it's he's being attacked or he made a statement overnight or whatever, right? So I mean, there's a lot of stuff, but anyways, first off, Texas and Mississippi are opening up fully today with no mask mandates and totally open businesses, pretty much as if everything is normal. Now, look, whether or not you believe in COVID or the science or this or that, I have no problem with that, and I'll tell you why. Because if the people have been urging the state and local governments to open up, and the people want to open, then let them open. I mean, that's just the way that I see it personally. And I'm not trying to push that view onto you guys, but honestly, like I say, for the ones that think it's real, maybe it is real, right? And it is, or maybe it isn't. Again, got to be careful because of YouTube. But for those who want to protect themselves, they could still wear the mask. No one's saying you can't wear a mask, right? But for those that don't want to wear one and just want everything to open up again, look, this is the way that people down south, they want it to be, and so that's the way it'll be. I mean, again, it's the whole thing with what I've been asked all the time. Dave, what do you think of taking the vaccine, or what do you think of certain towns forcing it? Look, take a vote. Majority wins. Simple as that. And I mean, look, I know it's a bit of an oversimplification, but we've known for months now that states in the South are not really happy with what's going on for many different reasons. And look, whether or not scientifically it's a good decision or not, it could be very much debated. But at the end of the day, excuse me, at the end of the day, it is what it is. They made the decision, and so that's it. I mean, everyone's got to give their 2 cents and their opinion, and they have a right to do that, right? As do I, as I'm doing right now. But ultimately, when we look at it, again, if that's what they want, I don't see what the issue is. Now, I can understand if someone's traveling from Texas or Mississippi to a state that's fully locked down, there might be concerns there. That might be a bit of a different story. There might have to be some limitations, right? Because if there's a certain state that is fully locked down because, the numbers are very bad and things like this, then I can understand, right? The next thing is that the Pope's going to Iraq this weekend, even though he was advised not to, just because of COVID and all that, and also because of the danger, let's say. And I'm not trying to be sarcastic there. I'm just trying to think of many different reasons, because they didn't specify as to why they advised him not to go. I mean, they said, yeah, because of COVID, but he's still going to go. When it comes to Iraq and all that, I think, honestly, and going there with personal security, I think the Pope will be fine as usual. I do think the security detail coordinates with other governments and things like this in order to make sure his trip is safe, especially the U.S. You know how close the U.S. is with the Pope, right? Whether Democrat or Republican. And even though that's not even supposed to be the case, because the marriage of church and state is not supposed to be a thing, we all know it is a thing. So the next thing is that the White House removed Neera Tanden from being nominated. Look, she was far too shady. Her tweets on a lot of different things and the kickbacks she's made, it just didn't look good. First, it didn't look good, and then it was looking optimistic, and then because some Democrats were going to vote for her when they initially said they were going to vote against her, and now it's just, there's too much PR issues, and Biden pretty much, I'm sure he said, okay, let's just pull this. This is too much. Like, Neera, sorry, but you're not going to get the position. And it's true. I mean, it's all optics, and it's terrible to say, but it's all optics. It's like anything in politics. A politician could do nothing for the entirety of their term, whether it's a president, a senator, a governor, a congresswoman, congressman, you name it, right? But if they look like they're doing things, that's all that really matters to the public. And again, we've seen the case, for example, with Andrew Cuomo, right? It looked like he was doing good stuff, which maybe he was, but he was covering up a lot of things. And that brings me to my next point, which is that the third accuser, which I covered yesterday, has a friend who has now corroborated these allegations of the third accuser by releasing pictures that match the friend's story. So here we go, about Cuomo grabbing her waist, grabbing her face, saying, "Can I kiss you?" And then the friend who was taking the picture stepped in and kind of de-escalated the situation and kind of made her feel more comfortable, and then they walked away from Cuomo. Apparently he showed up for some friends or something, birthday party or something like this. I totally forgot, and honestly, I don't really care. So I mean, again, look, it's consistency, right? And that's what I try to do with the morning episodes. And I think that's why you guys watch or listen. We got to be consistent. I don't care, Republican, Democrat, whatever, right? The next thing is that Bill Gates is rumored to be shorting Tesla. Interesting, because I would imagine there's probably like a multi-pronged play here. And the reason why I say that is because, first off, the guy's making money hand over fist from Microsoft and from many different things. God knows what other investments he has. It's not like he needs more of it. So why he would be shorting Tesla for the sake of profiting is hard to say. Now, excuse me, is he trying to cause a ripple maybe in the crypto world? Because, Elon Musk has really been pushing the cryptocurrencies. Could it be possible he has a deeper agenda at play? Maybe not necessarily a darker one, but he has his own agenda where he doesn't want certain things to happen. It's possible. I think it's either very simple or very strategic, the answer as to why he's shorting Tesla. But he won't say why, right? And he never officially confirmed it, to be totally truthful here, but he was just stopped himself short of admitting it, basically. So the next thing is that a powerful earthquake shook central Greece. Now, look, it's unfortunate. Apparently it is natural, because again, we talk about in the afternoon episodes certain things that don't seem to be, but apparently it is natural, and it's unfortunate if people did die. It's a terrible thing. Again, earthquakes are messed up. You can't control it. I mean, arguably. I mean, that's for the afternoon episodes, but if we talk about it on a public front, just very basic, I mean, I don't know what else to say to that. It's just terrible. Like, if the ground shook right now where I was in my house here, I mean, shit. It's kind of like a world-ending feeling, so to speak, right? The next thing is that Saudi Arabia's health ministry says that only people who have been vaccinated will be allowed to attend Hajj this year. Now, hopefully I didn't mispronounce that. I believe Hajj is the, if I'm not mistaken, and please, if I got this wrong, I'm so sorry. I believe it is the Muslim prayer group where it's a massive gathering once a year, from what I understand, where there's prayers and things like this, and you got to take the vaccine, and then even when you show up, you got to socially distance. They've already been releasing pictures of large groups socially distanced during prayer in order for this to occur. And so it's interesting to see Saudi Arabia make it mandatory, but again, we know what goes on there with MBS and all that. Whenever he says something or puts a law into place or a rule into place, that's the way it is, and that's the way it's going to stay. So whether you like it or not, right? The next thing is that an Al-Assad airbase, which hosts U.S. coalition and Iraqi soldiers, has been hit with rockets. So far, they're saying it came from about, I think, 8 miles or kilometers from the base there, and they're saying it's either ISIS or Iran or maybe a little bit of both. Because let's be honest, Iran's interests align with ISIS's perfectly. Right now, allegedly, according to Trump, they took out a bunch of the ISIS caliphate, which makes a lot of sense, but and again, we've seen that through different footage corroborated, and also, let's be totally honest here, which the U.S. media doesn't talk about, Russia's done a ton of damage to ISIS. They're doing hundreds of bombings a day in Syria, believe it or not, to take out ISIS, and so we can't give the U.S. full credit. We got to be totally truthful. Again, not trying to side with Russia, but let's call it like it is, right? And so, apparently that's happening, and this base was hit with these rockets, and I'm pretty sure Biden was briefed on it. I'm like 1,000,000,000% sure he was. We'll see what type of response there will be, whether it be a covert one, a digital one, or a ground war type response, right? So we'll see what happens there. Now, that might have been Iran's way of answering back, but I mean, man, things are escalating. There's between Israel, Syria, Iraq, Iran, between all this, like, I mean, holy crap, between ISIS and the different terrorist groups, holy shit, like, things are really ramping up. So here's the other thing, too, I want to mention very quickly. This is just my opinion aspect, but when a lot of people say, oh, like, Israel's dropping too many bombs, they're warmongers, I get that, guys, I honestly do. But when you're surrounded by your enemies, and you've tried to make peace before, and I'm not saying Israel's innocent, because they're not, but when former prime ministers tried to make peace and things like that, it just didn't work out. Honestly, I think they're surrounded by way too many of their enemies to even let their guard down one bit, in terms of, not militarily, because they never will, which I understand, but in terms of diplomatically. So, again, it's hard to say, but we'll see. The next thing is that Biden said there will be enough COVID vaccines for the entire U.S. by the end of May. Okay, let's see if that happens. The next thing is that Ghana and the UK signed a post-Brexit trade deal, which is good, right? Because we're going to see that the UK is going to sign a lot of deals now because they're officially, from what I understand, they're out of the European Union. If not, they're about to be. And we'll see what happens there. And I hate to say we'll see what happens, but because it just makes me think I have to follow up on it and all that. And I don't mind doing that. It's just ultimately politics never ends. You know what I mean? It just keeps going and going and going. So when we see this, again, there's the debate on to whether or not Brexit was good or Brexit was worth it. I mean, everyone's got their own opinion. I'm no different. I think, honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't know what to think. I don't know enough about the details of it to comment on it. I hear a lot of the older people that are, say 50 and above are for it. People that are below that age tend to generally not be for it. Allegedly, with the Brexit deal or the Brexit vote, it was a bunch of seniors and older people in the UK that came out to vote because a lot of younger people didn't bother. They didn't think anything would come of it. Right, and this deal kind of shook the world, so to speak. But I understand the reason to leave the European Union for many different reasons. I understand. So, and I don't want to get into that because that'll take me like an hour just for me to rant on. But anyways, the next thing is that Germany is planning to spy on the far-right AfD party. They're saying it's causing and sparking extremist violence and things like this. I mean, look, you want to spy on them, that's your country, fine. I don't know the details of what occurs in Germany, the way that, the laws that they have and all that. But look, like any other major powerhouse or federal government or things like this, when you want to spy on someone, legally or not, they got you, right? So they probably already have been spying on them. This just now they publicly announced it. Let's be real here, right? The next thing is that many in Russia are allegedly hesitant to take the vaccine, which is interesting because apparently the Sputnik vaccine is like literally the one of the best in the world. Not because of its efficacy, but because of its, I think, what was the word? Well, because of its efficacy, but because in the way in which it was developed, from my understanding. Now, what's interesting, though, is that allegedly through back channels, they say diplomatic back channels, but that's just a fancy way of saying we're talking to them underneath the table, right? We're whispering in each other's ears. The EU and the WHO and the CDC are asking Russia for help in terms of supplying vaccines to countries in Europe and in the West as well, possibly. Now, what's interesting is that what I see from this, guys, is I see an intelligence angle at play. And I say that because when I see an intelligence angle, what I mean is that, honestly, I doubt this will happen, but if Putin wanted to mess with a country's population, all he's got to do is, boop, put a little thing in that vaccine, because he'd have the ability to do it, right? Whether it's tracking or anything like this. And I know that might sound ridiculous, but all you got to do is look into, or that might sound conspiratorial, but all you have to do is look into DARPA's nanotech program. It's very easy. I mean, they can track you with quantum DNA at this point, which is insane, right? They can store information in your DNA and then extract it and then read it on a computer. So you're telling me they can't throw something into the vaccine? Now, I'm not trying to get conspiratorial. I'm just saying, from an intelligence angle, of course this would be fantastic, right? The next thing is that there was a mass fatality vehicle crash in Southern California with over a dozen people dead. I love the fact that we go from like major world news to car crashes, but anyways, look, it's terrible when that happens. I don't know what else to say. I mean, car crashes are terrible, which is why I think, honestly, that... I mean, look, I could be totally wrong here, but it's possible self-driving cars may cause less accidents mathematically in a probability-based evaluation. So maybe that might be the case. I mean, that's what Tesla's doing, right? So we'll see what happens there. And yeah, it's very sad for the people who have died, for the families that died. There were apparently just over a dozen dead so far that they found. Yeah, no, it's sad. I don't know what else to say, honestly. The final thing is that apparently Meghan Markle is being criticized for being a bully. Honestly, guys, I didn't look into this. I don't care for this stuff, but I'm bringing it up just because we just want to stay in the loop generally, right? But like this whole drama BS, like there was another thing too. Taylor Swift apparently is upset that a Netflix show made a joke about her she didn't like. Like, do you not have better things to do? And secondly, why is the media even covering this? What a joke. But anyways, Meghan Markle's apparently being criticized for being a bully. For what? I don't know. Maybe you guys could tell me, honestly. But people on Twitter are now comparing, they're saying like, listen, how is she a bully when Prince Andrew's done way worse? People are trying to say like, how could you criticize her in relative to who her brother-in-law is? or what he's been associated with Epstein and all that. So it's a fair point. It's a fair point. Again, we got to look for consistency, right? So that's it for today's news. Like I said, it's not going to be the news like when Trump was around. I'm not going to sit here and tell you and try to overexcite things. I'm just going to report it as it is, and we'll take it like that. So anyways, guys, you guys have a fantastic day, and hopefully we'll see you later on for today's public episode. And for the members that are watching or listening to this, we'll see you in the members only episode as well. Cheers.